there's a way to find out, with almost total certainty, whether your dog loves you more than anyone else in the world. And no, it's not the way he greets you when you walk through the door, because he does that even for someone who only visits once. It's something else, more subtle, more quiet, something that happens in everyday situations you've probably already lived through without realizing what you were seeing. Stay until the end, because the last sign I'm going to show you is the most definitive of all, and once you hear it, you'll understand exactly what place you hold in your dog's life. Everyone who loves a dog has, at some point, wondered whether they're really his favorite person. It's a simple question, but a deeply emotional one, because deep down we all want to know if the love we feel is returned the same way. Whether that bright, glowing look is given equally to everyone who passes through his life, or whether there's actually a special place reserved just for you. This doubt shows up especially in households where more than one person cares for the same dog, sharing walks, sharing meals, sharing affection, and even so, deep down, each of those people carries the same quiet question. Out of all of us, am I the one he loves most? Before we go on, tell me in the comments, have you ever had a moment when you were completely certain you were your dog's favorite person? I'd really love to read those stories. The first sign shows up in a very specific situation, when there are several people in the same room and something unexpected happens, like a loud noise or a stranger walking in. In that moment of light tension, notice who your dog looks at first. Researchers who study canine behavior have found that when faced with an ambiguous situation, dogs do something called social referencing, quickly looking toward their reference person before deciding how to react. If, out of everyone in the room, his eyes find yours first, that's not a coincidence. It means his brain has identified you, out of every available option, as the most reliable source of information about whether that moment is dangerous or safe. He's asking you, without words, whether everything is okay. And the simple fact that he chooses to ask you, and not anyone else in the room, already reveals a level of trust that isn't built overnight. This kind of social referencing is so consistent that in controlled settings, researchers can predict with fairly good accuracy which person a dog considers his primary reference just by watching where his eyes go first when something new happens. There's also a way to notice this through your dog's own body, when he's lying on the floor in a room full of people. Pay attention to which direction his body points. Not his head, not his gaze, but his whole body, his torso, the position of his paws. Experts explain that dogs tend to position their bodies facing the person they consider most important in the environment, even while simply resting, as if the whole body stayed slightly aligned, ready to react in case that person gets up or needs something. If you've ever noticed that your dog, even lying on the other side of the room, always has his body turned toward you, that's a quiet but remarkably consistent sign that he keeps you at the center of his attention the entire time, even when it looks like he's just resting. Picture a common scene: a Sunday afternoon, the house full, the TV on, everyone scattered around the living room talking. The dog is lying on the rug, seemingly indifferent to it all, almost asleep. But look closely, and you'll probably notice that whenever you move, even just to grab the remote or stretch your leg, one of his ears reacts first before anything else in the room does. He's not paying attention to everything at once. He's almost automatically keeping track of you, even while he looks completely relaxed. That kind of selective vigilance, aimed at just one specific person in a group, is exactly the sort of detail that goes unnoticed day to day, but that, when you stop and actually watch for it, reveals a quiet devotion no one else in the room is receiving. If these signs are moving you, this is exactly the kind of content we bring you every week on this channel. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the next discovery could completely change the way you understand your dog's behavior. Now, I want to tell you about a situation that almost every guardian with more than one dog at home, or anyone who spent time in a house full of people, has definitely experienced. It's that moment when several people call the dog at once, clapping, offering treats, calling his name enthusiastically. And even with all that stimulation around him, the dog chooses to walk straight to one specific person, completely ignoring the other offers. That doesn't happen by chance. Dogs are fully capable of weighing multiple sources of stimulation at once, and choosing, among them, the one that actually matters. When he ignores the treat, ignores the loud calling, ignores the whole commotion, and walks straight to you, he's making a conscious choice based on bond, not on immediate reward. That's even more significant than it seems, because in nature, and even inside a house, ignoring available food to go to one specific person requires an emotional bond stronger than the instinct to seek material reward itself. If you've ever lived through a scene like that, with your dog choosing you in the middle of a crowd of competing distractions, send this video right now to someone who also needs to know how rare that is and what it says about the bond between the two of you. There's also a behavior that tends to go unnoticed, but that reveals a lot about emotional hierarchy inside a household with more than one person. It's the moment when the dog decides where he's going to sleep at night. Many families have more than one adult at home, and even so, when bedtime comes, the dog consistently chooses the same side of the bed or the same room, night after night. Animal behavior experts explain that this choice usually isn't random. Among other things, it reflects who the dog feels the highest level of emotional security with during the most vulnerable part of the day, which is exactly sleep, when alertness instincts naturally drop. If your dog chooses to sleep by your side, even with other options available in the house, that's a vote of confidence he repeats consistently every single night of his life. There's also a very common scene in houses that host guests, one that tends to slip by unnoticed, but that's actually one of the most revealing signs of all. When the house is full, with new faces and familiar ones, everyone talking at once, notice who your dog chooses to approach when he finally decides to settle down. Many dogs get curious and circulate among the guests at first, sniffing around, getting petted, joining in the excitement. But there's a moment when his energy shifts and he stops circling. That's exactly when he tends to lie down next to one particular person, usually leaning his body against them or resting his head on some point of contact. Researchers who study social interactions in dogs explain that this behavior represents a kind of return to base after a period of intense social stimulation, and that the person chosen for that return tends to be exactly the one the dog identifies as his primary source of comfort. If, in the middle of a full house with dozens of hands available to pet him, your dog always comes back to you when he wants to truly rest, that's not luck. That's his brain making over and over the same choice. There's another sign, maybe even stronger, involving how the dog behaves during an unexpected separation. Picture a situation where you and another person from the household leave together, and then, at some point, each of you heads off in a different direction. Many guardians report that, in this kind of situation, the dog shows visible signs of discomfort specifically when his favorite person walks away, even if the other person stays close by. That happens because, to a dog's brain, the physical presence of any familiar human doesn't fully replace the presence of the person he considers his primary emotional reference. Scientists who study attachment behavior in dogs describe this kind of reaction as evidence of a clear hierarchy of bonds within the animal's own social group, something similar to what young children show toward their own caregivers. Tell me down in the comments, has your dog ever shown more restlessness specifically when you're the one walking away, even with other people nearby? I love reading these stories in the comments. And now we've reached the most definitive sign of all, the one that ties together everything we've talked about so far. It's the way your dog reacts the exact moment you walk back through the door, compared to how he reacts when anyone else arrives. Most owners have already noticed this without quite being able to explain it. The way his whole body moves, his ears, his tail, that little whimper of happiness, all of it happens with a different intensity when it's you coming through the door. It's not just faster, it's more complete. It involves his entire body from nose to the tip of his tail in a way that rarely repeats with the same intensity for anyone else, even someone the dog knows well and is also happy to see. Research analyzing dogs' heart rates during reunions with different people found consistently higher spikes specifically during reunions with the animal's primary reference person. His body can't fake it. The physical reaction is involuntary, immediate, and it's the most honest proof there is, because no training, no repetition teaches a heart to beat harder for someone who isn't truly special. Before we wrap up, subscribe to the channel because next week I'm going to show a simple test, one any guardian can do at home, to find out exactly how much trust your dog places in you compared to anyone else he knows. At the end of the day, all of these signs, the referencing glance in moments of tension, The body turned toward you, choosing you amid competing distractions. The preference for your side of the bed, coming back to you after circling among guests. The discomfort when you're the one who walks away, and the racing heartbeat at reunion come together into a clear answer to the question that brought you here. None of these signs on its own would prove much. But together, repeated day after day, year after year, they form a pattern impossible to ignore. Your dog doesn't love in some generic way, spread equally among everyone who passes through his life. He builds, day by day, a hierarchy of affection, and at the very top of it, most likely, is you. If this video helped you notice signs you'd been living through without realizing it, share it now with someone who also deserves to discover the place they hold in their dog's heart, because sometimes we need to hear it from someone else to finally feel the size of that love.